Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games. We're going to be looking at a card game, a war-themed card game called Last Front, the strategy card game. So there you go. Get a little look. Boom. All right. And I'm wearing a MASH shirt. Now, a little sidebar story on my MASH shirt. Some of you know I'm a police sergeant. I'm doing our squad briefing. I don't know why I got into it, but I somehow referenced, I think, Radar O'Reilly or Klinger or something from MASH. And actually I had an officer kind of put their hand up and say, "What's MASH?" And I was like, "No, you're making me feel so old." And so I explained like one of the best comedies ever. And Radar and the teddy bear and Klinger and the dresses and then him not leaving Korea until last and meatball surgery. And they were looking at me like, "That's a show?" I was like, that's a show. So let's talk about Last Front, the card game. It's about a 45-minute game, and it's a bidding game where you've got troops. There's a lot of troop cards, but they're only like lower point values, 1, 2. And then you've got some tank cards and some plane cards that are worth 3s. And then there's 4s. I think planes are 4s if I remember right. I'll go in and show you all those details in a bit. But here's what it does. It runs 45 minutes plus a little longer, depending on what the victory conditions that you set are. For faster games, which I'm going to admit, that's what I'm doing, you're going to be battling over these territories. And you can battle over the territory that you flip over or some other territory that somebody's already won. So that's where things can extend a little bit because you are able to attack the leader. But that is good. The rule book is quite simple, short, easy. It's a bidding game. I've heard some people compare it to Ivanhoe with a World War II theme. Let's go in and take a look. By the way, it's 3 to 6 players, which is the other key thing that I'll come back, and that is one of the leading aspects of this review. So let's go take a look, and I'll show you the cards. All right, I've got Last Front set up just for a 3-player game. So when you start, everybody gets 6 cards, so 6, 6, 6. These are territory bonus cards. So what happens is I got my territory stack, and you flip this over, and this is what we will be battling for. So the very first one we'll be battling for is Great Britain. Now again, the way you win this game is the first person that has 2 Great Britain cards, or 1 of each, which is Germany and America and Russia and Great Britain. Boom. So if you get 2 of the same, or 3 different territories, not 1 of each, but 3 different territories, that's the end of the game. Territory bonuses, and then I'm going to pull these out of here. These come in and do different things that give you a little bit of theme. I'll let you take a look at one real quick here so you can see the bonus. Here's troop unit cards receive +1 card bonus. Immune to typhus outbreak special cards. Sure, we're all inoculated, so you get a little theme. What happens is if you actually win the UK card in a future turn and no one else has, you're going to go ahead and get this territory bonus card. If someone else comes in and wins another UK card, this just goes away. And then of course, if you end up with 2 UK cards, you've won the game. So just to keep rounds fast. But that's how these work. They give a little bit of flair for controlling a unit, and it really gets people, in my opinion, what they do is they get people fighting over these quickly. You don't just sit back and turtle, because those are going to give you some nice bonuses. I believe that's why they're in there. I could be wrong. So they add a little theme, and they prevent the turtle. So you've got your territory deck you're going to be fighting on. One cool aspect with these while we're here is, let's say this had been won by this guy over here, and I'm beginning my turn. I will flip over a new territory card, and I will get to decide, are we going to fight over this one, or are we going to fight over the one that this guy already has? So we can fight and pull that away from him or her. So you can decide, you know what, we're challenging this guy, we're going to go steal this card back, or someone here at the table is going to be able to win that. Nice aspect. So you can fight for different territories in that mode. Let's assume he has this one. So everybody has 6 cards. The first thing you'll do on your turn is you'll draw a card in. Let me show you kind of what these cards look like. So you have your standard troop card. It's just going to have your soldier in there. You can see the color coordination. They're usually worth lower numbers. This is a defense or assault card, but all right, let me show you if we got it clear. It's worth 2 in defense, 1 in attack. So you say, well, what is that? Well, let's say this guy has a whole bunch of these. They're going to really help him defend that territory. Now, if he's being aggressive and going after this territory, let's say this was the one in play, well, nobody owns it, so you're just using this attack phase. Or this is in my hand, I could use it for 1 extra point to go after that. But they're really good to hold in reserve. Some of them are really powerful. I think you'll see some if I set them up in this deck right. So then you got your tanks. Again, very nice. I mean, 3 and 3. Hello, pretty easy. You got your planes, higher values, some thunderbolts. Hello, love them. All right, and then you've got your special cards. Now, I had this one in the deck as I drew, so you can see it's counterintelligence, and it's going to counter any special card played, and it can be played at any time. So when someone else, if they play a card, I could come in and stop it. And then what did I draw? I drew psychological warfare, and that is select 1 opponent and discard all of their support unit cards in their bid. Now I'm going to show you when this could be played, or I'll explain it. I'm not going to go through a whole game. But as you're bidding up your cards and you get more and more cards in front of you, you're all in, and then I can come in and just say, see you later. It's devastating because as you play these cards down on the table and you're bidding for a territory, you are not refreshing as quickly as you would like. You're pulling 1 at the beginning of your turn, and then if you win, you'll pull another card into your hand. So you've really got to shepherd. You've got to shepherd your points here. So let's just say we're going for Germany. And I want to open easy. I don't want to tip my hand, and I just play 1. So I've got 1 down. Now I could have laid all of them down, or any combination therein, but I just play this 1, and my hand is over. All right, we come to this guy's turn, so he draws a card. First thing he does is, let's show you his hand. So he's got some tanks here. He's got this real cool ME-262. Love the plane, by the way. All right, advanced fighters. So he's got this little deal here where the plane unit cards in bid are worth 2 times their face value. So I set him up with a card here. So this is actually going to be worth 6. Great card to have in reserve. And we got some soldiers, and then he just drew in this little special Lend-Lease, which is swap 1 card from any opponent's bid with 1 from your own. If some plane cards come down, couldn't you see how nicely that could happen? So you can see some of the little things that can happen here. So he may hold this in reserve, and he may just come in and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to play my 3 card, and I'm ahead of his 1. That's great. He could withdraw if he wanted and said, you know what, I don't even want to fight in this battle. I'm not interested. But again, we got these territory bonus cards that are in play. And even if you don't have one, someone else might. So it really stops that turtling phase. So he does that 3, and you know he's doing it because he's got this, and he can even come steal somebody else's plane card if he were to so choose. All right, now we're going to handle this guy's hand. I'm going to show you this card in a second. But first, we draw that card in. And I'm going to read this here. Worth 5 towards your bid total must be added to dug in pile if used to reach 10 points. So, what is a dug in pile? Well, if you ever get cards down on the table that equal 10 or higher, so if I had 9 down there already and I added this in, it would take me to 10. It's dug in and it's protected. You can't jack with anybody's cards. You can use that variant or not. I like to use it. But to explain what this card does is he could be real aggressive and play, he could play these cards right here and he would have a total value of 10 because this is going to add 5 to his cards. But let's just say he does something not quite, well, let's say he doesn't use it at all. He just comes in, he uses his 3. Remember, he's got to get greater than this other guy's 3. So he uses his 1, and he knows, you know what, I can come in later and use this and get it dug in without risking it and committing my whole hand. And he's now at 4, and his turn is over. So this keeps revolving around. Do I want to drop out? Do I want to bail out of here? I do not. So I'm going to draw a card. I draw a card anyway. All right, I add it to my hand. And now I've got the chance to use these real cool special abilities. So we've got some cards in play. So we've got here this counter, any special played can be played at any time. He doesn't want to do this yet, but remember he's got that airplane card he might be able to counter. He will in the future. And then we've got select one opponent and discard all of their support units in their bid. Not yet, but that's dangerous. So you can see how this would fly around, and I've kind of shown you how these would kick in and work. If he came in and used this on his next turn, it's now added to the value of this, it's doubled it, it's going to be 6. And you can see how you can then come back and counter with these cards. So there's all that interplay that's going around. So it's simple as draw, play, figure out what you're going to do. You do have the dug in rule, you do have some of this over here that keeps you from turtling, gives you a few things, and you're battling over the card. One thing I didn't cover, so you've got your battle deck, is inside the battle deck. I should have set this up, see if I can find one real quick. So you can see as you're rolling through, boom, you're going to have some of these. Some of these are layered in the battle deck. And when you play this out, it says draw an event card. So boom, I can now draw an event card. Now let me just show you what some of these are. First, I got this nice cool little deal. Let me just show, we've got firebombing campaign. Remove all cards from one opponent's display, including locked cards. So if they're locked, they've been dug in, and you've got a whole set of cards here, and you play this, you get this event, you can just get rid of them. So the event cards are going to come in, and they're just going to break the rules, do some different odd things. All right, so we've got winter, get it in screen. All right, all players suffer -1 unit card penalty for the rest of the battle. Apply before any other modifiers. Doesn't affect players with Soviet Union captured territory bonus. All right, so you can see how some of that stuff comes in and does some of this stuff. So that's it. That's all you've got is these 3 decks, the territories that you're battling over, the main battle cards that are just your number point decks and some of these special things, and then some little special event deals. And you can pull out of this bid process anytime you want, and the guy who ends up winning a territory or the gal draws a card into their hand, and they would get that territory. And again, just to recap, you get 2 of the same kind or 3 different kinds, you've won the game. So here's what I like to do with card games of a war theme strategy, because sometimes they're niche. It's hard to get someone into a war-themed card game sometimes. But I've got a bunch of wargaming buddies, and I used to even run, and I'm hoping to get back to this soon, I used to run this like lunch afternoon game session that was open. Anybody could show up. So sometimes I had one guy show up, we'd go play Conflict of Heroes. We would get 2 or 3, and we would go find a game that would work with that. On occasion, I would get 5, 6, once 8, and we ended up playing Atlantic Storm, Pacific Typhoon, which handles those larger numbers great. Or this would be perfect. You want to get, I love when a game brings everybody together, and sometimes that's hard to do with war game buddies. We'll pair off and maybe play something different, but play times are different. Who's ending, who's playing what. So I like to use these card games that are strategy in that way. And if you like bidding card games, Ivanhoe, it's in that genre. So they're easy to pick up, they're easy to play. Chasing the leader is key. So, and that's one of the keys in here. The way that you can modify cards with these special cards, off the top of my head, Patton, if you play Patton, he gives you a +2, but there's some things that can cancel some of those cards or modify, so you can modify. The way you can drop out of the bid, because you don't want to, not everybody in the table is going to keep bidding it up, because if I play that 2 and he plays the 3, he jumps in with 5, I'm not going to keep taking it up, because if I run out of the cards in my hand and I've captured a territory, they're going to be going for that territory next run, and I won't even be able to defend it. Those defense cards in there that are much stronger if you hold on to them and play them only when defending one of your territories, so you can build up and maybe make a run for that victory. So there's some nice little layered aspects into the card game, which is exactly what you need. If you don't have some layers that pull that theme through and make it stand out unique and different, sometimes they fall flat. Last front did not fall flat. So that is the aspect. The little rule breaking cards, the territory bonuses, and it's a simple bidding game. So, and then getting used to and catching that leader. As long as I don't like when they overstay their welcome. But that's less of the game, more of the players. As long as everybody knows, hey, you got to stop that guy. We can't just let him run away with it or her run away with it. But at the same time, I don't want this to go on. 45 minutes is kind of the sweet spot. If we're hitting into an hour, hour and a half, no. But this is done that way. And it's, like I said, a simple bidding deal with the ability to do that digging in thing so you can protect your stack of 10 points. And it even says, I think it says in the rules, if you want to simplify math, yes, I want to simplify math. I got a buddy of mine that's like, and I'm like, no, I want to simplify the math. If I've dug them in, your little modifier can't jack with them. And now I'm pushing. I might even play that extra card to get so I can dig them in and protect that stack. Nice little element. So last front, I believe, depending on when this comes out, that this is going up on a Kickstarter. This is like a pre-release copy. So go check out the Kickstarter whenever that goes live. See you guys. Chief, Mash, Klinger, Radar, the teddy bear, him knowing the orders. Oh, not Sherman. Shoot, you guys are yelling it. The first colonel. Dang it. I won't spoil what happens to him for those that want to go binge watch the old show. Great show. Go watch MASH. See you guys later, Chief.